Hello, it's Leah Simone. Welcome back to my channel. Hello people, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Today we're gonna do a pick a card, of course. And what we're gonna do is your mask versus your truth. So I thought it would be a pretty fun idea to see and compare the difference between how you are perceived by other people. So your mask, how you present yourself versus the truth of who you are. And I want to throw this out there because I'm not sure if this is clear to you guys, but you can ask this question and pick a pile for yourself. And if you are curious about how you are viewing another person versus the truth of who they are, you can pick a pile for that person as well. You could do both, one, the other, however you choose. But we have 4 piles to pick from: pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4. So I will pause and put a picture here, and the timestamps will be listed below. If you need to take a second, go ahead and pause now on the picture. Otherwise, I will see you at your pile. Okay, pile number 1. I almost said pile number 2, but pile number 1. So maybe this might be a 2-part message for you, this one and the next one. I'm not sure, but all right, let's go ahead and get started right away. So we're looking at the mask of who you are, how people perceive you, versus the truth of who you are, like what really goes on in your internal world, what really is the mechanics of your, the inner workings, your motivations, etc. All right, so right away when I started, we're going to start with your mask and then we'll go over to the truth of who you are. So right away as I was shuffling, I automatically got tapped into this anxious energy. So this is how people perceive you, to be kind of anxious, unsure, fidgety, maybe even a little uncomfortable, in your physical body. I started to feel discomfort and some pain, and I couldn't quite get myself together and situated in a comfortable position. There is also this feeling of just kind of really checking off. It's like if you have a task to complete, you'll make a list and then you'll do the things, and then you'll go back and you'll check the list and you'll say, okay, let me go back and look at number 1. Let me go back to list number 1 and see, did I do it good? Okay, check it off. Maybe adjust this a little bit, straighten up these cards, then go to number 2. It's very meticulous, very detail oriented. This is how you're being perceived, that you are a person that is pretty meticulous, detail oriented. Some people might perceive you as perfectionistic, actually, almost in in a way that is intimidating. The standards or the expectations that you have for yourself, they are, I'm going to take this baby off because it's kind of okay, on a side note, sorry about that, you guys. I don't want that to go out, and You might be a person that gets distracted easily, or you seem to get, this is how you're being perceived, like your attention. It's like very detail oriented. Like, so this, for example, I mean, typically I would be so tuned in, not that I'm not tuned in, but typically I'd be so tuned into the energy of the reading and I can keep going. But for me, it's like even finding a comfortable like position to sit in, or noticing like this, is this symmetrical? Can this be over some? Is this off camera, on camera? Like this thing now, it's not lit. Like, should I relight it? It's like that. It's almost like this yes, it's like this anxious, unsure energy. It's almost like I was going to say unthinking, but what I was trying to say was overthinking. So unthinking, I don't know. Maybe that means something to you. I don't know. But I feel... So this is how you're being perceived. Like, you have a lot of mental energy, and but you also have the balance here. So I think that you're being perceived as emotional, but you don't show it. It's like a secret. Like, you hide it, you suppress it, you do your best to hide that part of yourself. But I'm just getting the sense that there's someone around you, or some people around you, that know the truth of your mask, the truth behind your mask. You're being perceived as trying to balance this out, trying to come back into alignment, working through your emotional self. You are being perceived as you come off kind of like mystical, mysterious, kind of like, it's not mysterious, it's mystical, and I heard whimsical, and it's like I heard effortless. It's like you're kind of perceived with this duality about you. Like, on one hand, you're kind of like fidgety and anxious and nervous, and I'm getting the sense that like it's when you're in different elements. I was gonna say environments, but I heard elements. When you're in different elements, like, so if you're in nature, for example, or like specifically by water or by the beach, you are in your natural state, you're in flow, and that's when you're like whimsical and just I'm just getting like soft, flowy, like very cool, calm, collected. Like, you're very movable, sure, calm. And then there are other situations where you are anxious, unsure, and I'm getting like I'm just getting very like concrete structures. The visual that I'm getting, it's like a very concrete structure. So how do I explain it? Like a concrete building. Like, when you're in environments that feel like hard, cold, no like aesthetic, no warmth, no beauty. This can be literal or just the energy of the environment. When you are in that situation, you get a little like anxious and unsure and kind of fidgety, and like you might even withdraw. You might be a person that like you might not recognize it, but you might like self-soothe with your hands. Maybe you might like rub your hands or pick at your nails or something like that. Something with your hands, I'm getting. And it's like the hand movement is it's not like super fidgety like that. It might be just like kind of subtle, like something like you might be sitting and your body could be pretty still, but your hands are like moving, or something like that. It's like this fidgety energy. It isn't necessarily super noticeable, because on the outside of you, it's like it's more of like an energy thing. Like, on the outside of you, you can appear calm, but anybody that knows anything about energy can see that like your mind is racing. It's like that you might be overthinking or feeling anxious, unsure. Yeah, it's like you're unsure of maybe yourself or the environment, But I'm getting that you are that way in situations that feel, again, that I'm seeing this like concrete building in environments that feel cold. I heard detached. Just not warm. And that's going to mean something different for everybody. Like warm to you may be like literally physically, like the temperature is warm. Warm to somebody else may be like an environment where there's lots of food and jolly laughter. Warm to another person may be like dim lights and cozy blankets and a lot of art and things like that. So that's going to be different for everybody. Whatever your definition of warmth versus cold is, that's the difference of how you're being perceived. So when you're in warm, in like a warm environment, and I'm also getting that warm for you may be in like nature, around aesthetics, and that could be natural beauty, like a lot of like trees or grass or water, bodies of water, a view of the sky, the stars, the clouds, the moon, the sun, little like animals frolicking or flying. It could be that, or it can be in your home. Like I'm seeing like a lot of soft, fluffy things, like a soft, comfortable couch with cozy blankets, fuzzy socks, pillows, you know, like warmth on the walls, like maybe pictures of family members or art that you like, or maybe like positive affirmation phrases, that type of thing. When you're in that environment, you're just in flow, you're natural. That's when you're like whimsical and elegant and you're in your natural state. So you're being perceived to have this duality to you. The way that people are perceiving how you relate to like the mind, your mental energy, they're seeing, I heard firecracker, and whippersnapper. So like, does anybody use that term anymore? Apparently you're being perceived as quite the whippersnapper. What is that? What is that? Is that a real thing? A whippersnapper. Is that a real thing? I'm going to have to look that up because I'm not sure. I don't know why I'm feeling like that's a fish. Is it? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. I have no idea literally what a whippersnapper is, but I'm just feeling like it's a fish. I could be totally wrong. Anyways, yes. Okay. So when it comes to your mind, I'm getting that, like you're a firecracker or whippersnapper, and you're also perceived as very like psychic, like that your third eye is active. People see that about you, and you may like be open about, there's maybe something that you do or say that makes it pretty obvious. Now it's not grand. It's not like so flashy or showy or anything like that. It's pretty mild, but it's like, yeah, I do this thing, or yeah, I'm psychic. Like, yes, there's a way that you kind of showcase that you are in touch with your third eye, that you have this psychic ability, maybe it's specifically visions, and that you process your environments, your interactions with people, yourself, through your third eye, through the visions that you get, through connecting to your intuition, your angels, your guides. That's how you're being perceived. But I'm seeing that like the extent of that, the full truth of how in touch you are with your psychic ability it's not showcased on you. Like that's not, you don't lead with that. Like if people pay attention, they'll notice that about you. But you don't lead with that. If it's just a seeming, if you have an interaction and a person's like not truly interested, it's just like passive conversation and they're not really trying to get to know you. Maybe they're more concerned about themselves or whatever. Maybe they're just being polite, making conversation, whatever the situation is. They may not notice this about you. I hope that this is recording. Okay, it is. They may not notice this about you. But if someone pays attention, they will, if they get to know you and engage, then it's like you can see it. You're not flashy. You don't broadcast it. You don't show. This is how you're being perceived. You don't broadcast it. You're not flashy about it. It's there. It's there if you choose to notice. But if not, I'm not going to draw your attention to it. I'm not going to force your hand. That's what I heard. Force your hand. Something about this flame is really standing out to me. And this has to do with, so what I'm getting is that you may be a person that processes very quick, that transmute, how am I trying to explain this? Like, you can transmute and process things quickly, like you can turn it over quickly. So if information comes into you, you can transform that. Fire is a transformation agent. You think about like the earth. When you have rotted earth, you can set a fire which will clear out all the impurities and then make the ground fertile again so that you can plant new seeds and then have an abundant, lush garden or trees or whatever it is. So fire is like a transformation agent, and that's how your mind works. Specifically through like your intuition as well, like through your psychic gifts, your third eye chakra, and you process things pretty quickly. So where a situation may be presented, someone who's not so in touch with their intuition or their psychic ability or their third eye or anything like that might perceive it in one way, and like that's their mindset, whereas you can perceive that and transform that and then explain that. You can, like, it's like a computing system. Like, you put in one thing, it goes in the machine, it does what it does really quickly. I'm getting like it turns it over really quick, and then it produces something else. It's kind of like this, like, I don't know if this is a great example, but it's kind of like this incense. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you have this incense cone, and then you apply the fire to it, which is your mind processing it, thinking it, and then really shortly after, it's producing smoke. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's turning from this hard, immovable, solid cone. You add the flame to it, the fire, that's your process, and then now it's more fluid, it's movey, it's flowy, it goes where it needs to go, as it needs to. That's what you're able to do for people. This is how you're being perceived. That's how you're able to, with your mind, your mental energy, like that's how you are able to process. This is how people are seeing you. I mean, godly, if I say that again, like, obviously. Okay, and actually you are showing up. People are perceiving you as very thought-provoking is what I heard, in mental energy. Like, you may have a lot to say. You are coming across, you're being perceived as very intelligent. You have some kind of knowledge, but I'm also getting that you have wisdom. It's like you have a good balance of knowledge and wisdom. But something about that ability, or something about the way that your mind works, like sometimes it is received. Again, this goes back to, like, if a person is not paying attention, they will miss it, and they will interpret this as you are anxious or unsure. But the truth of what's happening is you're processing. Not for the sake of just not, it's like you're processing with a purpose. You're processing with the purpose of transmuting energy, transmuting a situation, transmuting the outcome of an interaction or a perception. It's all to move away from, I'm just getting that you're being perceived as someone that's breaking away from limited beliefs, limited thinking. Groupthink is what I heard. And that's what's showing up as your what's fueling this mask. This is why you are presenting this way. And that doesn't mean that it's not the truth of who you are, because a mask is a part of our identity, but it's just a part of us that we lead with, that other people receive, and this is how other people are summarizing your energy, how they are viewing your energy. I'm just getting like, look how much this has picked up. I hope this is in frame. Look how much like smoke and how like movable and fluid it is. That's you. That's how you process. This is how your psychic gifts work. Like, it just is so, and you go with it. Okay. So we have also, okay, so your emotional the way that you interact with your emotions, the way that that's being perceived is you like intellectualize your emotions. So you actually maybe you're someone, people perceive you as someone who's really good at explaining emotions. Being able to articulate what's happening, why it's happening, how to navigate it, why it's something that might make you feel uncomfortable, why you should not be ashamed of your emotions. Just really like articulating and communicating very clearly and precisely is what I heard about emotions. Like it's like you wrote the manual on emotions. And so I'm also getting that, like, in your ability to explain this, the way that you relate to emotion and the way that you're able to communicate about emotions is fascinating to people, because it's like you can explain it without being in your emotional body. And a part of this may actually be perceived as you kind of like lacking empathy or not being sensitive, but the truth is you really are. You have to guard your own sensitivity, because I'm getting that you may be an empath. And so if you allow yourself to absorb the emotion of the person, because you already are constantly being inundated with energy, you feel that effortlessly as you go walk down the street or whatever. So if you were to absorb that, it would overtake your being. It would overtake you. So you have to like protect yourself. You have to have this shield. Like I'm getting like heavy like crown chakra just protection in general, like chakra energy protection, crown chakra specifically. You may do something to protect your crown chakra, whether that's like wearing a scarf or a hat, or putting your hair like up in a bun or a ponytail. Maybe you might be a person that uses like intention oils, or like maybe you might dress yourself with crystals, whatever it is, something directly on your crown chakra. You might put like a protection oil, but I'm getting that like overall that you do that with your energy overall in general. You're being perceived as someone that's really connected to like the sky, to the divine, to the cosmos. You have the ability to remove yourself from emotions in order to see a situation clearly. So whereas people might be triggered and then they'll have an emotional reaction because they are in their emotional body, you have the ability to step outside of that emotional body. Whether it's in yourself, that's not to say that you're not ever in your emotional body, because you are a human being, but this is how you're being perceived. Like you're able to step outside of your emotional body, whether it's you or whether you're witnessing a situation with somebody and you see that they're in their emotional body. You don't jump into your emotional body to respond. You are able to maintain this air of intellect. What am I trying to say? Intellectual, I don't know, property. you're able to maintain your intellect, Aaliyah, to be able to like work through that emotional situation and kind of explain that, articulate that, break that down, to transmute that so that the other person or yourself, it's like you are an agent. You are the fire that helps you are a catalyst. This is how you're being seen. You are a person that helps people to see things, to shift their perspective, to see things in a different way. You have the ability to to like lock in and hold focus on the truth, the root of the situation. And like, it's like I'm seeing like someone with blinders on, that's like, I see that this is the root, and I don't care what comes at and tries to like sidetrack or distract. You are so good at like staying in your lane, putting up your protectors, your blinders, and like helping to walk that person to the root of the issue of why that might be a reaction for them. Or even you can do that with yourself and then come back and then explain. So if you do have a moment where you are where you have an emotional reaction, you have the ability to then process that and transmute that and step out of your emotional body to understand what was the cause of that, what was the root of that, and then come back to that person and say, this is what intellectualize it, you know what I mean? To just break it down in a way that it's like and when you say it, okay, this is getting a little, when you say it, it's not like, oh, this wasn't my fault, I reacted this way, because it's not like that. You're still accountable, but it's more like a, hey, I realized that was not the reaction that I was trying to give, and I see that has triggered you or offended you, and rightfully so. So I apologize, and I'll be accountable, or whatever. Let me just explain what was happening so we know how to navigate this going forward, or we can have a conversation about what to do. Like, let me enlighten you and share this thing about me so you have this awareness, and then you tell me how you feel about this situation so I can understand, how, that type of thing. Like, you're able to have that type of approach when it comes to your emotional body. So when it comes to like your physical interactions, which can be anything from like how you interact with the world physically, or how you interact with other people, or how you interact with your own self, your sexuality, your sensuality, with just your interactions on a physical level. I'm just seeing that you're very like curious and lighthearted and fun and playful and like open. I'm just getting a like heavy curious energy. Like, it's like, okay, so there's this a sound on Instagram. It's a reel, and it's like this man, and he's like, why do you make everything so fanciful? And he's saying it with like this irritation and this aggression. And then this woman responds, and it's like this very childlike voice, and she's like, because it is. And that's you. You're the because it is person. Like, and it's not fake. It's real. Like, you really are just so fascinated by newness, and it's not novelty. It's not like that fascination with like, oh, this is new, I want this, give this to me, and then once it's old, it's like move on. It's like this like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, curious, like, oh, what is this? Like, I want to know what this is about. I want to submerge myself. I want all of my senses to experience this new thing. I want to learn about this. I want to be able to tell other people about this in detail and share what I've learned and what this experience is, what I liked it, what I like, what I didn't like. And like, it's okay. If you approach a situation that's new with curiosity and it doesn't turn out like maybe it didn't turn out so great, you might have a period where you're like put off from it, but that's not enough to stop you from, it doesn't hinder this curiosity. It might like tamper it a little bit for a little while, but then eventually you come back to that yourself in that way. Again, we're talking about your mask. We're going to move over to the truth of who you are in just a minute. Again, I just want to remind you though, that doesn't mean that this is not a part of you. It is. So, that's how you're being perceived for how you interact in the physical world. It's very like, fa la la, frolicking through life. Like, I'm just looking up, looking around. I'm just exploring. I want to know, like, if it's something that you haven't experienced, and you are striking me as a person that has experienced it. Like, you're just all about the leap of faith. You're like, you might have questions, and you might be like, well, I mean, what does that mean? Like, what do you want me to do? All right, well, let's try it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your energy. That's how you're being perceived. That's how people perceive you. This is your mask. This is how you come off to the world. Like, you're like, I heard I'm about it. So, yeah, you know what I mean? You're about it. And there's a sense of fearlessness. Like, I'm looking at this dog, and I never really got this before, but it's almost like this dog is like, hey, wait, like, should we talk about this? Like, let's discuss this before you kind of jump off on this ledge. Like, are you sure? Like, this dog is trying to, like, are you sure? And you're just like, it'll be fine. It's cool. Let's go. You know what I mean? You're just like, nah, it's fine. It's like this purity. Like, I'm looking at this white rose. It's like this purity, this innocence, this curiosity of exploration. And it makes you happy. Like, it lights you up. That's how you're perceived. And it's genuine, it's authentic. This is not in a disposable way where it's like, oh, this is new, I want this because this is new. You're not that person. You're not perceived as that person, and tapping into your energy, you're not that person. You're not someone that's going to do something because that, like, you're not, I'm just getting that you're not necessarily a person that's going to follow the crowd. Okay, let me move over to the truth of who you are, because that's like a perfect segue, actually. All right, so your overall energy is coming through, again, very intuitive and very psychic. And the truth of who you are is like, it's like you found your calling. It's like you found your calling, and like, that's your focus. That is where you are. Like, that's where you're putting all your energy. You have greedy here, but I'm not even getting it in a way that's like, all right, you need to ease up. Like, I'm not even getting it like that, because it's not coming off as grabby. It's coming off more like, I'm focused. I found my passion. Like, this is it. I'm not going to allow myself to be distracted. Like, that has happened before in the past, or I followed somebody else's guidance or path, or what they thought I should, like, was good for my, whatever, like what someone else's opinion of how I should navigate the world, myself. It's like, you've done that before, and now you're like, nope, I'm all about my intuition. I'm all about following my passions. I'm all about being, it's like, no one can sway you from that. And that's the greedy energy, where it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can't get enough, honestly. Like, you really love connecting with your intuition, with the divine, with your angels, and with your guides. It's like you can't get enough. It's like, if you could just live your life doing that. You have the high priestess here twice. Hello, hi. You are so intuitive, and you love it. Like, you love it. It's like you cannot, it's like, something about it makes you feel safe, where other people might fear this way of connecting with spirit through your psychic ability, through your intuition, through reading tarot, maybe scrying. Like, you're a person that's like, whether you would describe it or not, you're a person that, whether you would describe it this way or not, you're a person that's pretty witchy, in the sense that you're comfortable with navigating the shadows of yourself, of other people, of society. You're comfortable with exploring. It's like this curious energy, again, with exploring forms of divination. You're not going to shy away from, like, you're going to weigh up your options. I saw this vision in the last reading that I did, but I'm seeing it again. It's like this scale with the eggs, and I'm getting like the good egg and bad egg. It's like in the Willy Wonka. It's that scene from the Willy Wonka where they like have the egg that drops, and then it's like, it's a good egg or it's a bad egg. It's like you weigh that up, like your new endeavors. Like, is this a good egg or a bad egg? Like, is this a path is this for the highest good, or will this cause harm? Like, you weigh up the options. You're not just going to go blindly into it, but you're not, if someone is like, don't do that. That's evil. Like you're going to check with your intuition first. You're going to check with your angels, your guides, divine. You're going to check with yourself, your own energy. And if it doesn't feel like it's evil for you and you know you don't have intentions of using it for bad or for evil, you're like, all right, well, cool. If you want to stand outside, you go for it. But I'm going to go into this cave, or I'm going to go into this shadow, or I'm going to go into this realm. I'm going to see what this is about. Because, like, this, it's back to this energy again. Like, this is cool. Like, what is this? I want to know. You know what I mean? That's the truth of who you are. And so you connecting to your spirit, to tarot, like, I'm getting hardcore tarot. So whether that's you actually practicing tarot or the fascination of when you come across a tarot reading, like this one, for example, like the information that's given to you and how you're able to connect to it and how it like really, you can learn from it, how it shows you things about yourself that maybe you had a hard time recognizing, like for good or for bad, like whether this is something that that you're like chained to, and you need to give it up, or whether it's like, this is what you're doing well, like you're just fascinated by it. It's like, this is your favorite way of learning about yourself and learning about the world, is through spirit, through intuition. Because for you, that is the ultimate truth. That is the ultimate truth. And there's this sense that like you recognize, okay, so this is what I'm getting. It's like you're a person that probably, you might be someone that's like, people are offended by your communication because you might be like very blunt and direct, and you have no problem. For you, you don't run away from the truth. You seek it. You seek the truth. And that's why you love this. Connecting with spirit, your intuition, your psychic ability, your prayer, your meditation, the wisdom that you get, activating and using your crown chakra. You love that because that is the ultimate truth. That is the ultimate truth. That is the highest wisdom that you can get. That is a perspective that is divine. It's not of the world. It's not an ego-based perspective. And that is the truth. And you are a truth seeker. You are a truth seeker and you are a truth speaker. And that triggers people. You might be someone that people say to you, like, you know, you're blunt and direct. And so it's offensive. You shouldn't say that. Oh my gosh, it's so rude. You might be people might call you an asshole, because like they are interpreting what you're saying at, this is the truth of who you are, and it's not malicious intention. You're just like, why? It's for it confuses you. Like you're like, why don't people want to know the truth? It's like you can't understand it. It's like, why don't people want to know the truth? If people would know the truth and embrace the truth more, it doesn't even have to be judgmental. You don't have to come across the truth and say like, oh my God, we are not doing that truth. That's so gross. So you're like, okay, first of all, what the fuck was that voice? Speaking of non-judgment, but you're not that person, or you don't even, it's not, or even if you do come across the truth, it's good. You're not going to be like, yo, that's the motherfucking truth right there. That's the truth above all other truth. Like, you're not going to raise or lower a truth over the other. You just approach it as a truth. And then you take stock of like, okay, is this truth useful? This truth that I'm holding on to, this truth that I'm using to make my decisions, this truth that influences how I see things or how I interact with people, is it useful? Or is this holding me back? Like, you look at truth like that, like as a navigation tool. Like, this truth will let me know if I need to go down this path or that path. This truth will let me know whether this path is dark or whether it's light, and vice versa for the other path. This truth will let me know if I am self-sabotaging or if I am setting healthy boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So like for you, it's like this navigation system of self and of how you can interact with the world. And it's like, you love it. It's so enlightening to you. It's like, if everybody can see this, our interactions would be golden. Like, if everybody can see and tap into this and have this understanding that truth doesn't, first of all, it's subjective. This is your energy. That it's like, truth is subjective. Your truth is going to be different from my truth. This is the core of who you are. You recognize that, you understand that, and that's what you try to explain to people, and that's why you're able to communicate so directly. That's why you're able to like offer this wisdom, this truth from you are a channel. You are a mouthpiece for the divine. You are so connected to your intuition that you receive downloads and you communicate it out, whether you recognize it or not. This can be on a broad scale, or this can just be in your one-on-one interactions with people. That's the truth of who you are. This is like how you process things. This is your overall energy. This is how you interact with your mental energy. This is the truth of who you are. Now, for the way that you perceive and interact with emotions, you have the Devil card here. But I'm getting this is like you are viewing emotions. It's like the way that you interact with emotions is that it's like you okay, how can I explain this? You're chained to them. Like you cannot exist without the emotion, because you understand that through your emotion is how you can connect to other people. Like it's relatable. And then it's also how you connect to the divine. It's how you share your authentic truth with the divine. And it's how you tap further and further and further into higher wisdom and into your intuition and into your connectivity with the divine, with spirit, with your angels, with your guides. Because you are a person that would cry out to your angels and your guides. And if you feel angry with them, you'll say that. Like, I'm so angry with you. I don't understand this. Like, you have no problem being vulnerable with the divine. Maybe not always. You may have had to work to this, but this is the truth of who you are in this current moment, in this energy, in this time that you come across this reading. And so, like, so you're not trying to suppress emotions anymore. It's like to you, it's like it's one and the same. You cannot be you without your emotion. That's how you interact with emotions, with yourself and with other people. In fact, if you come across someone who is so hell bent on not sharing emotion, that's skeptical. You're like skeptical about it. You're like, I don't know. It's yeah. But okay, so I'm getting that you're like, I don't know, but then also it's like, it's two things. It's like, I guess it depends on the undercurrent of the energy as well, because there are some people who hide their emotions because they don't want to be manipulated. And in that sense, you're curious. That's when you're like ready to tap into your intuition, and you're like, that truth seeking, that communication. And it's not coming from a place of being nosy or, again, of being judgment. It's like, yo, I can work through this with, like, you can really overcome this. I can work through this with you. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're afraid to go into the dark, hold my hand, homie. I've been here. Like, I can walk through the dark with my eyes closed. That's your energy. And you're like, I got you. Do you trust me? If you can trust me, how can I help you build trust in me? What do you need? Hold my hand. What's comfortable for you? Sometimes I think that the excitement of your intuition and the information you get, and again, you're like I was saying over here, you're a person that receives information and computes it really quick, and then the output, it happens really fast. So when you have an interaction with someone or you see a situation, all the information comes to you, why a person is the way they are and what they need to do to get to the outcome that they're looking at. Let me make sure this is still recording. I feel like this is kind of long. You're able to see all of that so quickly. And so a part of that kind of, it's like the excitement of that, of like, oh my God, this is totally for you. You navigate this terrain frequently and have been for a very, very long, I've heard all my life. You have been, whether on the conscious level or not, but definitely for years. So this, like, you are approaching other people as if they have that same experience and that they would approach it with this same type of enthusiasm and excitement as you. And that's not always the case. So sometimes that approach of directness, and it's like people aren't really sure. It's confusing. It's confusing to people because it's like, okay, so like the visual that I got is like, people are equating that to you being excited to jump into hot tar. Like to them, it's like, why the hell would you want to jump into hot tar? And for you, you're like, oh my God, it's so good for the skin. I mean, this obviously, hot tar is not good for the skin. So please don't go jumping in hot tar. This is a metaphor though, saying that people are seeing you jumping into this situation. They're seeing the situation. When I say situation, I mean like digging into the shadows or getting to the truth seeking, getting to the root. That's an uncomfortable thing sometimes for people, for society. You're gung-ho for it. But people are viewing the truth, the shadows, as hot tar. And they're looking at you like, why the hell do you want to jump in hot tar? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Don't you know we're all standing on the outside of this perimeter looking at the hot tar, but we're not acknowledging it. We're pretending like it doesn't exist. Like, that's how we're functioning in society. That's how people are looking at you. And you're like, yo, the crazy thing is, this thing is masked as hot tar, but it's really a mud bath. Or like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, let me show. I've been in here so many times. This is the secret. This is the secret. Like, that's your energy. You're like, you don't even know what's here. It's like for you, it's like, this looks like hot tar, but it's not. I've been in here so many times. Like once you submerge, you'll actually see it's not hot tar. It doesn't damage your skin. You don't have chemical burns. You don't end up dying. It's not abrasive. Like, yes, it's a little bit uncomfortable at first if you've never experienced it, but the more you get into it, the more you see how beneficial it is for you. And then the more you'll want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? That is how you are. That's the truth of who you are. That's how you navigate yourself, your situations, the people around you, and your energy. It's so that's this like duality. It's so, people are confused by your energy. People are confused by your energy. People are confused by your energy because on one hand, it's that duality. It's that duality that it's like, how are you the truth of who you are, but you present this duality? Like, that's the energy that people have towards you. It's confusing, but again, it's like, if people would take the time to get to know you, if you're not gonna force anybody's hand. You're like, if you want to see it, you will see it, but you're not the like me, look at me type of person. If you miss it, that's on you. You know what I mean? It's like, this really is a case of like your loss, and this isn't in a boastful your loss kind of way. It's just kind of like you know what I'm saying? If you go to a gold mine and then you just look at the little sand, what is it? Like, if you look at the little pit where there's pebbles or whatever, and you just say, there's no gold there, and you don't actually get in the water with the little thing and sift through it to get the gold, you're not interested in being like, hey, but like, look at my gold. It's here. You just got to dig. You're not interested in all that, because if you can be that dismissive of it, then you don't deserve it. That's your approach to people who misunderstand your energy. And it's not even like, that's just, and it's not rude or harsh or like, if you can't see, it's not even that. Because you understand truth, there's so much compassion. It's just like, yes, your approach, but it's more like, that's not your approach. That's not what I'm trying to say. That's how can I explain this? Like, you understand that, but you don't feel the need to explain that. You can see, like, okay, it's like you can see the truth of a person, and for you, like, you don't feel the need to explain or say, hey, no, but you've missed this gold. It's like, okay, you're not at a phase in your journey where you are ready to receive that or even handle that, because you would have known, if you would have known to sift through these pebbles with this little sifter to find the gold. You would have known that, but you haven't learned that lesson yet. You haven't gotten that far enough in your journey to recognize that this is what I am, like that this is the situation, this is the whole of me, and I'm not going to hold up signs with neon lights pointing with arrows and things like that to get you to see it, because it's not meant for you. And it's not, you're not saying that, or you're not coming across that way in a judgmental way. It's just, you understand the truth of the situation because you too have been there. You understand that it's a journey, you know what I mean? And like, if you happen to be right here in your journey and you look back and you recognize that someone is right here in their journey, you're like, okay, cool. Like, that's where you are. I can meet you, like I can understand, I've been there, so I know where that is and I know how to interact with you on that level. But I cannot expect you to interact with me on this level because you haven't been there yet. And I'm not judging you. I can help you along the way to like share what I know, and you can take it or leave it, or however, if you choose to, or if you don't want the help, that's cool too, because it's your journey and I respect however you decide to move forward or not move forward, when you're ready, when you're not ready, like whatever. But I'm not going to force myself or my wisdom or what I have to share, my energy, my intuitive gifts. I'm not going to force myself onto you. And you're like, okay, that is, you know, it is what it is. It's not anything to be. I think that you've learned that over time. That's the truth. Because you have been a person that's so like blunt and direct, I think that you have been in situations often where like your friendships or relationships, they kind of take hits, or people move away because they're not ready to receive the truth. And I think that there was a point in time where you were personalizing that as like you doing something wrong, or like people leaving you. But you have got, through connecting to your intuition, it's like that's what I was saying, it's like getting to that truth. That's that like greedy. It's like, now that you've tapped in and you've gotten that truth and you have that level of enlightenment, now you're like, okay, I get it. So if this I'm not gonna force that hand. If this person doesn't want to, these people, this relationship, this situation, this environment, whatever, if I'm going to serve whatever purpose, and I'm going to let it flow naturally how it goes, and whichever direction it goes, like I'm not forcing their decision one way or the other. If they want to stay or leave, that's cool. That's up to them. You know what I'm saying? Like how can I explain this? It's just this feeling of like acceptance and the truth of knowing that like what is for you is for you. And so just because something or someone is no longer in connection with you at that juncture, it could be a deviation of paths that might bring you back together, or it could be that you guys have taught each other and you've learned from each other, whatever the situation is. It's like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not even, I don't know if I'm doing a very good job of explaining this. I hope I am, but I feel like I'm like kind of repeating myself, and I think that makes sense. I hope it does. But essentially what I'm saying is that you're like all about the truth, that you're like, you're not looking to force yourself onto another, whatever that is, or to try to get like an explanation from another, because you can see it so clearly through tapping in to your intuition, your psychic gifts, to communicating with spirit. Like spirit tells you what it is, and you trust that above all else, because you know people are not comfortable with the truth, so they may not tell you the truth, or they may not tell you the full truth because they're not comfortable with it. And so you would rather not rely on the word of someone else. You would rather rely on what spirit is saying to you, what spirit is telling you, because that's the ultimate truth. That is the ultimate truth to you. So the truth of how you interact on a physical level, it's very like thought oriented. I'm getting heavy like Mercury energy, like analytical processing, also like tangible, like physical touch type. but a lot of like it's process oriented. Like it's that curiosity. It's and then like, yeah. So whereas like you are perceived as this like, I heard it's like you're perceived as this like kind of just no direction. It's kind of like aimless, like la da da, like that's how you interact with the world. It's like you're perceived as if you don't know what you're doing. But the truth is, like, you do. You're processing. You're receiving information all the time, and it's like constantly computing and calculating, and it happens really fast, and it's coming from the divine. It's through your crown chakra. Whether that's like physical interactions with people or an interaction with the environment, whether you're interacting with nature, animals, it doesn't matter. I'm just getting that you are very balanced and very versatile when it comes to moving in and out of your emotional body and your physical body, like moving in and out of your spiritual body and then grounding yourself in reality, in the physical world. You're comfortable navigating both. And it's like you look out to see like what situation calls for what. What situation calls for you to be in your emotional body or your spiritual body? What situation calls for you to be in your physical body and like in the moment? You're also more sexual and sensual, I'm getting, than people think you are. They think that you are like, people perceive you as kind of like prude, childlike, like inexperienced, innocent, and you do have this innocence about you, but you also you're very like you have traveled to the darkness. So, and sexuality oftentimes falls in the shadow element of ourself because of just the way, like the pressures and the standards of society, what's acceptable, what's not, blah blah blah. You've explored that, and whatever you haven't explored, you're comfortable exploring that with the right energy, with the right, you're not gonna just like, you're comfortable with yourself and you're comfortable with choosing. You're not frivolous with your sexuality. It's very intentional. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's intentional. You know what you're doing. You're more in touch with it than people realize that you are. And that's another thing that you don't care to clarify for people. It's like, okay, well, that's your assumption, and you choose to interact with me on your false assumption. Again, not truth. If you choose to interact with me on your non-truth based on your perspective, I'm not going to clarify that for you, but I'm also not going to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to fake being someone that you think I am for you. Like, I'm not going to, you'll have to figure that out. That's your own lesson to learn. So yeah, how freaking fascinating, Pile 1. Oh my gosh, I love this reading. I hope you loved it as much as I did. That's pretty much all I have for you. I think that was pretty good. If you like this, if anything resonated, if you like this type of reading, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below if this resonated with you. If you feel that you identify with your mask and versus your truth, or if you think that people see your mask in the way that I described. I'm very curious to know how in line we are with ourselves. Anyways, if you think that somebody else will benefit from this video, please feel free to share it. If you're returning from a previous video, thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you, Pile 1. Bye. number 2. We are talking about your mask versus your truth. So, let's get into it. This side is how you are being perceived, and that's where we're going to start here, and then we'll move over to the truth of who you are. So, your overall energy, how is your overall energy being received and perceived by other people? You are showing up as someone that is very disconnected from your heart, in the way that you view love, but even just in everyday interactions. You have a blocked heart chakra, lack of empathy. And that's how you're being perceived, as someone that is, it's like you're big and you're tough in your demeanor. And because you're big and tough, you can't show your emotions. You know what I'm saying? But that's how you're being perceived. But also, it's like you're bound by something. You're bound by like power. This is how you're being perceived. Like you are bound by some kind of power. Maybe even by a service to others, like some sort of service to others, or commitment to giving to something, to a situation, to someone, to people. Like there's some sort of element of you that's service oriented, that you are bound by, and that's it's like, I don't know if that's what's okay. So yeah, you're I think that you are someone that is you may have a distorted emotional body in general. I think that you are being perceived as someone that has like a short temper that kind of lashes out. There's no what I'm sensing with lack of empathy, it's not just lack of empathy, it's also a lack of like understanding, a lack of compassion. So in situations where someone says something or does something or whatever, something doesn't work out the way that you think it should work out, you kind of like take that as a moment of like turning up, honestly. And so it's coming across that you don't have, that you lack empathy, like you lack, but it's more than that. It's not just that you lack empathy. It's like you lack empathy. Like it's like your expression of empathy doesn't come across as sincere to people. It's like you, it's very guarded. It's very like you're in this like defensive posture, but it's unassuming. It's like, you have the person that might stand with their arms crossed because they're bored, or you have the person that might stand with their arms crossed because they are insecure, and then you have the person that might stand with their arms crossed because they're defensive and they're like, they don't want anyone getting in. They're blocking off their heart chakra, and that's you. That's how you're being perceived. Tapping into your energy, it feels so, it's like, I sense your, it's like, okay, so what am I feeling? I'm feeling like I have to be super conscious and careful and tread lightly. It's not even tread lightly. It's like, I think this is how people feel towards you. It's like they have to be careful what they say because they're not sure what type of, like, you might personalize something that's not meant to be personalized, and your response to that can be kind of aggressive. or turned up. That's what I keep hearing. And it's like there's this sense that you're protecting something, and it may be your heart, but also like something else. Something that you're bound to. I don't know. It's relating to like power. So it might be like how you relate to power, or if you have authority over like other people, like maybe in a family dynamic, for example, if you have children, or if you are like a boss and you have subordinates or something. It's like the way that you're relating to power and the way that you the responsibility and the authority that you hold in this position. Something about that is connecting to how you are being perceived as lacking empathy, how you're like blocked out, you're like not you don't have emotional engagements in that way. It's coming across in a very like defensive posture, very like protective of yourself, and possibly like subordinates or something like that. There's maybe it could even be like how you feel about you, or I'm also getting like it could be your inner child, like you're protective of your inner child. But this is how you are being perceived. For your mental energy, like the way that you process things and interact things, I'm just seeing that you like, it's very fiery. It's very like okay, like I was explaining before, like it's very like it's not fire can be unpredictable. You know what I mean? It can be as contained as like this candle, or you can light a leaf in the forest and then suddenly the whole forest is ablaze. It's unpredictable. You know what I mean? It can like be contained, or it can be on this path and then suddenly it goes left or whatever. And like that's how you're coming through with like your mental energy and the way you process situations, the way you think about things, like how you analyze and perceive the world around you, your interactions with people, your environment, etc. It's very like fiery. It's very unpredictable. Like it could be as calming and soothing as a candle, or it could be as like abrasive and harsh as like a house fire or a forest fire. It could be as relaxing and serene as a candle, or it can be as destructive as a forest fire. That's how it's being perceived. It's like we don't know. That's the energy of like how people, it's like we don't know. We don't know what to expect from you. As far as how you are being perceived to connect with like emotions, your emotions, or emotions in general, the emotions of other people, you're like, I gotta move through that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that connects to the lack of empathy. That's kind of why it's being seen that way. Because if someone, or even if you feel yourself getting too deep in an emotional state, you're like, nah, time to move on. You know what I mean? Like, and it may not be that direct. It could be like it's time to move on. Maybe like, let's talk about something else light and fluffy, or let's make a joke of this, or let's laugh, or let's just go on a fantasy whim of, you know, let's compare your fantasy with my fantasy. It's like, let's distract. Let's move out of this as quickly as possible and go to where it's fun and light and playful and comfortable, and we don't have to worry about anything you know what I'm saying? Like if it's uncomfortable, let's just move on from that. And for you, emotions are uncomfortable. Unless it's like this fiery type of emotion, which is like that turn up, that like, oh, you need me to step up and handle this problem? Oh, you need me to check this person? Oh, you need to, like, it's like that. If it's like a fiery type of energy, like aggression, or like if you're protecting someone, or even yourself, or if you feel like you are, being like, I heard justice warrior for someone, like you're bringing justice for someone, and that requires you to be have more bravado and be a little more aggressive. You're cool with that. But when it comes to exploring like your fears or the things that make you sad or vulnerable, anything having to do with the heart, love, that type of emotion, any type of emotion that can be deemed uncomfortable, like anything that makes you feel that it might put you in a state of feeling shame or guilt, you're like, nah, we're out of here. Anything that can be, that you can process as you doing something wrong or you not doing something right, because doing something wrong and not doing something right are two different things. Not doing something right doesn't automatically imply that you're doing something wrong. It just means that, like, do you understand what I'm saying? And that's different than doing something wrong. But anyways, the point is, like, anything that could be perceived in that way, you're like, you don't even want to address it. Like, if it's like someone's pointing out something where you're like, you might perceive that as them saying you did this wrong, or you're not right by doing that. It's like anything, there's accountability. Anything that has to do with you being accountable for yourself or your actions that may have impacted a situation in a negative way, or like less than whatever. It's like you're being perceived as avoiding that. But again, unless it's like, yeah, you have the wands here, which is the fire energy, the passion. It's like, if it has to do with like that passionate, fiery energy, no matter how it expresses itself, you're cool with that. And I'm just noticing like how much this flame is flickering. Like you're comfortable. And see how when I said that, the flame got so calm, and now, did you see what I'm saying? It's like you're so comfortable with that. Like you're comfortable with turning up. And there's something about like okay, so it's like something about like acknowledging an element of you, like where you feel seen, that it tamps this fire down, where you might be turned up, but then as soon as someone's like, oh my God, you're so great, or like, I validate you, or you're so worthy, or God, you did that so well. As soon as you feel seen and appreciated and valued and heard, it's like that flame gets steady. It's like, we don't need to turn up now. We can just be steady. And I'm just getting like, in that situation, you might be more receptive to being a little more like accountable. Okay, so how you relate to the physical world, the way that people perceive how you relate to the physical world. You're coming across as kind of like out of balance and ungrounded. Like you spend more time in fantasy than in reality. The Temperance card, this is what you have to represent. The Temperance card is all about, it's about balance. It's about alchemy. Being able to take something and transform it into another by having just the right amount of the various ingredients and mixing it, and you know what I mean, like balancing out properly. So it's like, if you notice it, but this is reversed, so this is saying that this is like blocked. You're not grounded. You're spending more, and I'm just getting, again, it's like you're not grounded in reality. You have a lot of like passionate, fiery energy and mental energy. You have the Knight of Cups here, but it's in reverse. The Knight of Cups is the card. It's the card. It's the like, if you think about a Knight of Cups character, it's the like puppy love, hopeless romantic. I'm gonna express myself freely in this love, and yes, it might be so careless and foolish and fleeting, but I feel this right now, and I'm gonna express this to you, and I'm gonna tell you how much I love. It's the hopeless romantic. It's that type of card. It's like the teenage love. That's blocked. And that's the only Cups card that you have as far as how you're being perceived. Like you're not being perceived as being connected to your emotional body. But if you look at the Temperance card, there's a balance of one foot is on the ground, which represents our grounding, our connection to the physical, to the real world, to reality. And then the other foot is in the water, which is the connection to the emotions. So that's a balance of going between your emotional body and reality. And the emotional body sometimes can take us into other realms, and I don't want to get into that, but when I say other realms, I just mean like we can tend to maybe like fantasize, maybe when we feel in love, we start fantasizing about like, oh my gosh, what this could be, what our future can be. That's a part of the emotional element as well. So, but this is in reverse, so it's out of balance. It's coming across that you would much rather spend more time in this fantasy, in what feels good, because sometimes the reality, like what feels good to your energy, because sometimes the reality is uncomfortable and you don't want to deal with that. The reality being the emotions or how you are contributing to perpetuating like limiting beliefs, whether you're self-sabotaging or sabotaging situations, or whether you're not contributing as you should to a situation, or whatever it is. And in any area where you can be accountable for yourself, if it's uncomfortable, you're like, I'm out of here. Let's talk about how this, you know what I mean? Like this fantasy, or let me turn up. Like it's like on go mode. It's like go mode or full stop. There's no in between. That's how you're being perceived. So I was explaining to pile 1 that there's an element of our mask that is truth. It is still a part of us. So this is what you're leading with when you interact with the world, with people. This is what they're seeing. This is how they are perceiving you. Now, when we move over here to the truth of who you are, your overall energy, you have clear thoughts and vision. Third eye chakra is balanced, and then you have the Ace of Swords in reverse. And so what I'm getting with this is that like the truth of who you are is that you it's like you can see things very clearly, but you don't speak up on it. And then it's bringing me back to this mask. Like when you are ready to speak up on it is when you get to this point of being inflamed and you want it. Like this is upside down, so I can't really tell if these are flames, but they look like flames to me. And that's what it's like. You're not going to speak up on it unless it's like a point of inflame. Look at this dragon, how wide his mouth is open. This is reverse, showing that it's like something that's blocked or there's a blockage somehow or overactive. So I'm just getting that it's like you can see things very clearly, and there are situations that you can speak up on. And if you were more grounded in the physical and the reality, you can speak up on it in a way that people will receive what you're saying, and that will give you the validation that you're looking for, this way of wanting to be seen and heard. It will give you that. But what's happening is you see these things clearly, and then you don't say anything until you're in a situation now where you're inflamed and you're responding with this fiery energy, this passionate energy of turning up. Or do you know what I'm saying? Or like, oh my gosh, these emotions are so uncomfortable, so let's just get really hot and passionate and sexy, like that type of thing. But that's not realistic. It's like we're sharing our bodies with each other. Obviously, emotions are going to develop for one, if not both of us, and we need to address what that is. We at some point we need to have a conversation. But you're like, no. I don't want to do. Let's just go be fun and have sexy time. You know what I'm saying? Like that conversation is uncomfortable. You want to stay in the fun of it. You want to stay in the fiery energy of it. Even if it's like that leads to a heated discussion, you're even cool with that because it's that fiery energy. But when it comes to having to be vulnerable, you're not comfortable. And then as far as your mental energy, the truth of who you are is you peacock yourself. You want to be seen. You want to be heard. You want to be seen as intelligent and having something to offer. Like you want to be seen as having a very broad, colorful, bright mind that's a plethora, a wealth of knowledge, that it's a resource, that it's like look at it's like the way that you respond to the way that you like analyze things and think things through, and it's like the way that but what I'm getting more than that is like the way, the truth of how you want your mental energy to perceive. It's like you want to be perceived as this like wise person, or this person that has okay, so the truth of who you are is that you like really put a lot of emphasis in the value of intellect, the value of the mind. This is an air card. This is an earth card. So the reason why I said that is because this represents your mental energy. And you have like this fiery energy. I'm looking at like all this red and this yellow. And over here you have the air energy. So anyways, what I was saying is that you put a lot of value in your mental intellect. And you want to be seen that way. You want to be seen as like super knowledgeable, super intellectual, like a lot of wisdom, just like you want to be the go-to person for advice. Like it's like you want your word to be the golden word. You value that. Like that's, if somebody were to compliment you in that way, you would feel super seen. Like you would feel like, I made it. You know what I mean? And then the truth of how you relate to emotions, how you interact with emotions, is that it's like it's okay, how can I explain this? It's like you want that. You want to be able to feel this fulfillment, and you want to be comfortable, and you want to be able to have these emotional deep conversations. You want to be able to be vulnerable, and for that to be received. You want it to be safe. Like you want those things. But getting to that point, it's like I don't know if it's uncomfortable. It's like, but that's the truth of who you are. Like you want those things. But people wouldn't know that, because when it comes up, you're just like, oh yeah, let's da-da-da-da. And that might be a defense mechanism, like a trust issue. That might be something that has to do with like, it could be a defense mechanism of sorts. Like trusting that if you were to share your vulnerable side, that person that you're sharing it with will not manipulate you or use it against you or criticize you or batter you or, just inappropriately use that or weaponize your emotions against you. Like you want, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to be able to have that type of interaction with people, but it's like, does that exist? It feels like a fantasy to you, like the truth of it. It's like existing in that, it feels like a fairy tale, like a fantasy. And then how you relate to the material world. Is that what I was trying to say? I was trying to say physical world, which, okay, material world, that makes sense. But that was like no coincidence that I said that, because how you relate to the physical world is in a very material, tangible way, where it's like your motives, your drive, your incentive, your reasoning for doing what you do is for the physical. Is for the material. You're almost chained to it in that way, where it's like, I'm doing this because this is going to give me this type of popularity, or I'm doing this because this is going to give me this kind of money, or I'm doing this because this is going to attract this type of attention. It's very tangible. I'm doing this because I will get this type of partner, or I'll have this type of house, or I can drive this type of car, or I'll have this type of title. Or it's very like 3D based, and you're chained to it in that way because it's like how do I explain this? it's like your driving factor. It's your motivation for how you navigate, why you navigate. But the thing is, like, there's a deeper undercurrent. So it's like, this is your motivation for doing this, but why is that your motivation? And you may not even know that, or even know how to answer that, because you have to be able to get in touch with your emotions. And getting in touch with your emotions is to also get in touch with your shadow side, your darkness. But anytime emotions come up that are uncomfortable, you're like, I'm out. Let's run in the opposite direction. Nope, it's sunny and beautiful over there with flowers and butterflies and a clear blue sky. The birds are singing and chirping. Do you see that? We're going over there. You're like, forget that cave. We're going over here to this beautiful, outdoorsy, sunshiny rainbow of a place. And I'm going to stay here forever. That's your energy when it's like, homie, that's not real. You know what I mean? Like, eventually the sun's going to go down. The butterflies are going to go into wherever they're going to go. It's going to get cold, and you're going to be outside and exposed to the elements. In the cave, yes, it's dark, but you can start a fire. You'll have heat. You'll have protection, shelter from any elements. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. And you're like, nah, that cave is, nope, I'm going to be over here. So, but if you can look at the cave as the way that I explained it, where it's like, yeah, it's dark. Yes, we're not sure what's in there, but let's light some fire. The bats will fly out. They don't want to deal with that fire. You know what I'm saying? If it will provide heat, it will provide light. We have a shelter, so if it starts raining, you know what I'm saying? We have coverage on at least 3 of the 4 sides. So if there's any aggressive wind, we can tuck in the back of the cubby, like of the cave, and be protected in that way. If you can look at it if you can look at emotions like that, there is a sense of safety in knowing and exploring your own emotion. There's a sense of identity that cannot be taken away from you, that's going to connect you to this fulfillment. If you can look at emotions like that, that's going to help you get to the root of why you are motivated the way that you are motivated, in a very material, physical based. The title, the career, the status, the power, the image, the house, the trophy husband or wife, the kids, the white picket fence, the dog, the this, the that. Like, you can understand why that's your motivation. And then once you understand that, you can see, is this reality based? This motivation, is this realistic? Or am I trying to avoid something? And am I just being in this, like, what's fantasy, what's fantastical, and what feels like it would feel good to my energy? You know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, in my fantasy, I'm going to be happy if I have all of these things. So it's like, okay, are you moving from a space of fantasy, or are you moving from a space of reality? Because have you ever had that job with that title that you wanted, that you liked, and then were you 10 of cups happy ever after? Did you feel that? Or were you like, this isn't it? It was good for a while, but this isn't it. Because if the answer is the latter, then that lets you know that you have your intentions, your motivation is from a fantasy-based perspective, and it's not grounded in reality. And that's the truth of who you are. So I have, like, what fuels your mask? What is your reasoning, or like, why do you present your mask? And you have the Two of Swords in reverse. So the Two of Swords is a stalemate. So when it's reversed, it's there's like blocked energy. So what I'm getting from this, though, is that you don't want, it's like stubborn energy. Like, you don't want, okay, I'm just noticing, like, how the blindfold is on here. Like, you don't want to see, you don't want to change. It's not even that you don't want to change. You don't want to do the work for whatever reason. Maybe it's scary, or maybe it's too exhausting, or maybe it's too much, or maybe you feel like it's too late, or maybe you feel like there's not a chance for you, or whatever. Maybe you feel like you've gone too far down the wrong path and it's too late to turn around. Whatever your situation is, whatever your reasoning is, it's like you've come up with something and you're like, nah, I'm not. Like, I'm not even gonna do that. And so that's why you continue to present with this mask, that you interact with the world. That's why this is your perception. That's why this is how you interact with the world. As far as like the truth of who you are and what grounds your true self, you have the Knight of Swords in reverse. The Knight of Swords talks about communication, a message coming in. And so when it's reversed, it's like not delivered. It's like there's something that, oh, okay. So, okay, what I'm getting is that like there's a situation that you're not addressing, that you're not speaking up on. Whether you need to be accountable for yourself, because remember we talked about over here, there's this feeling of discomfort when you have to be accountable for an action that involves you, whether it was intentionally malicious or not, but it had some kind of consequence that is not maybe of like the best reflection of you. If you have to be accountable for something that you did that might have impacted someone else or something else negatively, you're uncomfortable with that and you'd rather just like not look at it. And so this could be saying that this is the truth of why you feel the way that you feel in this current energy, because there's some kind of communication that you need to give, or some conversation you need to have, some messaging, something that you need to acknowledge and address and quite possibly be accountable for that you are not. You're refusing to do. And that's why the truth of who you are is like, you see these things very clearly, but you don't say anything. You don't react. And it's like you want to have this emotional body, but it's a fantasy for you. And you like the way that the truth of who you are right now is like, what I'm getting is like, it's the truth for the moment, because energy is always changing. So this isn't to say that like if what I'm describing as you right now is going to be you forever. No, we can change energy. We can change our perspectives. We can change a lot of things. We can even change the way that we are perceived. But are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do the work? Are you really willing to put in the effort? Are you willing to go into the cave? Pile 2, are you willing to go into the cave? Because that's what's going to help you to make whatever adjustments and align yourself with what you truly want, which is this 10 of Cups. This is the happily ever after. What comes after this, you have the land, the house, the freaking water that's right there. You have the family, the kids frolicking about. Like you have the rainbows in the sky. You have your cups full of emotion. Like you have all of your needs are provided. You are fulfilled on a mental, spiritual, and emotional level. Like this is the happily ever after. This is what comes after this. There's nothing after 10. It's a new journey. It's a new journey to get to that new happily ever after, whether that's like a new child or, you know, starting a new business or moving to a new place or, I don't know, starting a new project, whatever it is. It's like, okay, now the cycle begins again until we get to that new happily ever. And that is the process of life for everybody. No one is exempt. For everybody. Everybody literally goes through these cycles in life. How we get stuck in one phase of the cycle or not is based on how we do or do not learn a lesson, and how we do or do not apply ourselves, and how we do or do not take on the responsibility of making these shifts and adjustments within ourselves and aligning the image, like what we present with the truth of who we are. Because this is a part of who we are. But it's like an iceberg. This is just the part that's above the water. This is the part that's beneath. So it's integrating this and aligning it so it's a more complete, wholesome, wholesome, I guess that I don't think was what I was trying to say, but yeah, okay, wholesome, we'll go with that. But it's a more complete, like whole picture. It's not just like I'm just this tip, I'm just the top part of this iceberg, and this part underneath can't exist with this mask, and this part with this mask, like this part underneath can't exist with, do you understand what I'm saying? It's like integrating the two. So, I hope that made sense, and I hope that something here resonates for you, Pile 2. I find it so fascinating to see where we are with like how people perceive us versus like the truth of who we are, and how in alignment or out of alignment that is. And I don't know, I like to do this as like a self-check of like how authentic I am or am not being, whether it's on a conscious or a subconscious level. But anyways, pile number 2, if something here resonates, or if you like this, if this was helpful in any way, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you find this helpful and you think somebody else will, please feel free to share this. If you are returning from a previous video, thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you and bye for now. See you later, pile 2. Okay, pile 3. We have here your mask versus your truth. And I'm going to get right into it because there's a lot of stuff that's already coming in. And I'm going to start with your mask, how you perceived by other people, what you lead with, how people are viewing you. So as I was preparing your spread, there's so much that's coming through, so let me just get into it. Okay, as I was preparing your spread, which that's a thing on its own, and I'll get into that. But as I was preparing your spread, I got very hot. So you might be a person that like sweats a lot or gets really hot or has high metabolism or you move around a lot. I like had to put my hair up in a ponytail. I had to take off my fuzzy socks. It's kind of cooler here today. I had to take off my fuzzy socks. I'm like ready to put on some shorts. I got really warm. Even my hands kind of feel a little bit like sweaty, and I'm not typically a person that sweats, like especially not in my hands, but I started to get very hot and very sweaty. So you might be a person. Also, I started to feel, and on top of that, I got really thirsty suddenly. So you might be a person that has high metabolism, but also right before I started to talk about this spread, I'm not a person that smokes weed often. I have. And sometimes I will, like when I'm meditating and I really want to get deep in connectivity with my spirituality. But before I started doing this spread, like I was like, dang, I really want a blunt. And I have not smoked in a while, which whatever, that's not the point. My point is you might be a person that smokes weed. So there's that. Also, when I said I'm going to get into this spread, there's something about that, like this spread. It reminds me of like a charcuterie board, like a thing. So you might be a person that has a lot of you might be a person that likes luxury, or you feel entitled to luxury, or you have access to luxury. Like I'm just imagining someone bringing over to you like a platter, like a butler or something, like with their hand behind their back holding the silver tray, like offering you a spread, like would you like any? And I'm seeing now like a spread of cigars. So you might like to treat yourself to finer things like that. So like it could be a spread of like food or a spread of cigar, just like options. You like, or this is how you're being perceived. We're talking about your mask. People think that you like to have nice things, that you like to have options, that you are afforded that type of luxury, and you may very well be. Okay, so as far as your overall energy, what I'm getting here, the way that you are being perceived, you actually are coming off as kind of a know-it-all. And not only a know-it-all, but kind of like, because you have this superior knowledge, because you have a broad knowledge, on broad knowledge base, you're kind of coming off a little bit like pompous, like you know better, like you are better than other people, like you are superior. Okay, you have inferiority complex here, so it's like you're coming off like you're better than other people, like you are superior. This is your mask, so I mean, a part of this is a part of your truth. I don't know if you recognize this or identify this. You also might be someone that's a fast talker. I heard smooth talker. I heard sell salt to a slug. So you might be someone that's very, very good at like convincing or selling something. Like you are so good with words and just kind of moving through. Now I'm seeing like a snake. Oops. Going through, like just slithering around. That's not it's not to say that you're like a slimy, I mean, you could be. This is your mask, so this is how you're perceived. It's like you're so smooth, you're so slick, you're so like, you know, like you could, it's like a snake. Like a snake can go undetected, honestly. So that's how you're coming across. It's very much like, it's almost like you're coming across a little bit like, I heard challenge me, bro. Like you're coming across a little bit competitive. Like you want somebody to challenge you so you can show off your superiority in whatever way. And I'm getting that superiority is knowledge. You feel you are superior in the mind, in your knowledge and what you know and what you can do and how you can, with words. I'm like with like Mercury type energy. You have 3 of Swords to represent your overall energy, which actually is like betrayal. So people are kind of seeing, yes, okay, so it's like that. It's kind of like you're coming through as like almost like people they're not really sure if they can trust you because like you have the gift of gab. That's what I heard. Like you can sell salt to a slug. Like you are a smooth talker, and it's like no matter what the situation is, like you have something to say about it, some type of knowledge or something to contribute to the conversation. Like you have something to say, you have the answer. Like I know best. Like didn't I say that? Like that's your energy. That's how you're being perceived. It's like, and it's like you're looking like you're waiting for someone to challenge you. Like, do you know differently? Do you know better than me? You don't, do you? Okay, so anyways, let me get this kind of cigar. Like that's your energy. It's a little bit dismissive and it's a little bit pompous. This is how people are perceiving you. As far as like your mental energy and how you process situations, people are seeing you as this tiger. Like tigers study their prey. They look for their patterns. They hang out and they kind of like lurch in the background very slowly and stealthily, and they wait for the right opportunity to pounce. And it's like, would you trust being around a tiger? You know what I mean? Because when a tiger's hungry, a tiger's not going to say, hey, by the way, I'm hungry, hand me that platter. They're going to hang out in the background and just, without you knowing, kind of just remove their self and go hunt whatever they need to hunt and then bring it back to the pack for them to eat. You know what I'm saying? And that's how people are perceiving how you navigate situations. It's kind of like sly and like predatory almost. And I don't mean, I just mean predatory in the like, you see something that you want. And this doesn't, I know a lot of times that we relate predatory to like sexuality, and it's not that. It's more so like, I want this, it could be like, I want this job opportunity. I'm going to be sneaky about how I do it. Or I want to be seen this way. Okay, so something about like a wedding ring. I don't know. I just saw a ring. So I don't know if that is, I don't know how that ties in, which is wild though, because you also have the 4 of Wands, which is the card of like marriage, of like a wedding celebration. I heard I'm married to the game. Yeah, it's like life is a game. Like you're forever a player in the game. And then, okay, so also like how you interact on an emotional level, even with that, it's kind of a little bit, you have the Knight of Swords in reverse. The Knight of Swords is about like swift communication, messaging of some sort of news coming in, and it's in reverse, which means that it's like what I was getting is like your communication around, like your communication is unpredictable, and how you relate to emotions, whether it's someone else's or yours, it's like you don't really give so much of your like how you are feeling. You won't give that. You might like lie in wait and let somebody tell you how they feel, so you know how to, like, where the weakness is and how to attack. That sounds so predatory. I know that the way that I'm describing this sounds, it's like not making you sound like the best person. This is how you're being perceived, though. Something about this makes me want to say, if you don't believe me, ask people around you. Because I feel like you don't believe me. And, like, that's cool. You know what I mean? I'm not here to force anything on you, but you are at this reading after all. I feel like I have to talk to you like that. Like, I feel like you're like, by me saying this, you feel challenged. You feel threatened. Like, I'm picking up on that energy from you. Like, you know, like, it's like you're downing what I'm saying and you're ready to, like, so that's why I feel the need to be like, okay, that's cool if you don't believe me, but ask people around you. Ask people around you. But the wild thing is, it's like, why is this your mask? Why is this your mask? Because you have the Three of Cups. Because you want that camaraderie. You want that celebratory, like, social. You want to come off. You want that, and you want to come off as that. You want to be, like, the life of the party. You want to be the go-to person in the group. Like, you want it to be fun and upbeat and celebratory and, like, I found my people, and, like, this is my tribe. Like, that's why you have this mask. But the crazy thing is, it's like this mask is kind of off-putting to people, or the people that it attract are sneaky, snaky kind of people as well, or they're easily, it's like you have an energy that is, if you don't use it right, it's very manipulative. Like, it could be very manipulative. This could easily sway to a very darker type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Or you can use, this can be a gift or a curse. Like, this can either sway to, like, a very darker type of energy, or you can use this, because this is a skill, this is a talent. And I think that you want to be seen this way. Like, this is the reason, like, you want this talent, this skill to be recognized, and for it to attract your people, and for it to be like a celebratory environment. Like, people are celebrating you for this intellect, this knowledge, the way, it's like, you know what you can do, what you have to offer, but people aren't recognizing it. This is what I feel the need to say, is like, one thing that might help you to put things in perspective, as to, because I feel like you're a person that is questioning, like, why am I not getting my praise? Like, why are people not acknowledging this about me? You know what I'm saying? One thing to maybe put into perspective is that a person can, this is not, let me reiterate, this is not to reinforce this superiority complex that you are leading with. This is not for me to say that you are superior. What I'm saying is, where you are in your journey may be further along than where someone else is in their journey. And if you believe in past lives, you may have intellect that you carried over into this life from this past life that other people don't have. The point is, let's say there are 10 levels in a lifetime. You may be at level 7. If a person is only at level 5, they're not going to be able to acknowledge, interact, even be aware of levels 6 and 7. So you're expecting them to recognize you at level 7, but they don't know what level 7 is. Do you understand what I'm saying? And because of the way that you are leading, because of this mask, it's attracting these people that are at, like, level 5 or whatever, a level that cannot, or at this moment, at the moment that you're with them, they're not able to recognize the level that you're at yet. So it's like me going to an elementary school and expecting them to praise me for, you know, the fact that I don't know, something adult that kids don't know. Like, that I don't know, like, that I can read tarot or something. You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't, come on, they barely know how to wipe their ass. You know what I'm saying? So there's a messaging here about kind of like adjusting your expectations, but also adjusting your presentation. You might be smoking weed right now. Like, I hardcore just got a craving for weed, and also it's like I don't like physically in my physical environment smell weed, but it's a part of my intuitive gift, my clear sentient. Anyways, you might be smoking weed right now, or want to. Like, I feel like I just saw you, like, strike a match and light up a blunt or a bowl. But anyways, my point is, something about the way that you are leading with this mask and the type of people that that is, like, there's like I don't know how to, it's like this mask it's not, you're not, I think that you, okay, what am I trying to say? You are being perceived in a way, your perception, okay, how am I trying to explain this? There's a misalignment somewhere. I think with the truth of who you are and the mask, like how you're leading, I think that there is like a misalignment, that's not uncommon. You know what I mean? Our masks, I was explaining this in another power where our mask is like the top part of the iceberg, and then our truth is like the part that's submerged underneath, and that's usually bigger. Often you can't see that, like, you know what I'm saying? But there's a severe disconnect. Well, I haven't gotten over here yet, but it feels like there's a severe disconnect between the two. And I think that you might be a person that might be questioning, like, your interactions. Like, why? I just get this sense that there's, like, there's a lack of acknowledgement, that you feel like you're not being acknowledged for something. And it has something to do with this mask, like the way that you are presenting yourself or interacting with the world, interacting with your emotions, with the mind, with other people. It's the way that you're interacting that comes off a little bit predatory, and it's like kind of like it's like people have a hard time really knowing if they can trust it or not. It's like something about that energy, it feels like you are going to betray. Like if I was perceiving your energy, it's like there's something about your energy that feels like I'm going to be betrayed somehow in whatever way that makes sense. Like, I don't know, if we go into a business deal, like, I don't know if I can trust you, might betray me. Or if we decide to, it's like, be friends, I don't know, you might gossip behind my back. Or like, if we are in a relationship, like, you might cheat on me. You know what I mean? If we go on this vacation together, like, I don't know, just, I think those are pretty good examples. But that it's like, there's something about the energy that it's like, I don't quite know if I can trust it. That's how you're being perceived. And I just keep getting drawn to, like, there's a disconnect there, because what you're putting out, it's like you're putting it out with the intention to, okay, the best way that I can, like, describe this would be like if I were trying to catch a fish, right? But instead of putting fish food on the hook, I put dog food on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that. It's like you're trying to gain this result, but you're using the wrong, the word that I was getting ready to use was bait, but even that feels predatory. And it's like, it's so strategic that it's almost, it doesn't feel relatable. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel organic. And the strategy behind it is what it's like. Why do you feel like you need to strategize to be my friend? Why do you feel like you need to strategize to have a conversation with me? Or like, why do you feel like you need to strategize to just say hi? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't trust that. That seems shady. That's how you're being perceived. Meanwhile, like, the core of why you do this is like, but I thought I want to be friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought we were cool. And it's like, okay, so it's like, okay, so this is how, okay, so it's like, for you feel that if you, like, strategize and kind of use this almost like sneaky way to, I don't know, to build a relationship, like, to you, it's like, well, if I know all these things about this person beforehand, or if I strategize this group, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like for you think that the strategy of that is like how you can ensure a friendship, because if you know the play, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you know the play, if you know the playbook, then you know, like, if I move this way, this is how this is going to be this response from this person, and I know that they like this, so this is going to ensure that they'll want to be like my friend. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of and so I'm going to get over to, like, the truth of who you are, because that's that inferiority complex. So you might have been drawn to my last video, which is about core wounds. And if not, I would like to invite you to check that out if you feel up to it, because there might be something in there for you as well. But this what I'm getting, okay, so what Spirit is saying is that this way of being is connected to a core wound, possibly from childhood, which has subconsciously, whether you're aware of it or not, created this inferiority complex. And because there's that inferiority complex, when you present yourself, it comes off as though you are as though you think or you feel that you are superior and you need to lead with that. And I don't know if you recognize that or if you see that, or like something like, it's like, okay, hold on, because there's something else that's trying to come through about like the eyes and like seeing, like being stared down. I don't know. I heard the truth of who you are. I don't know. I feel like there's someone that you have your eye on that you like, I don't know, it's like something connected to like the truth of who you are, like being seen or you seeing someone clearly. It's something like that. I can't, the message is in the imaging, it's not it's like very fragmented, and I think that's intentional because this particular message feels pretty specific, and this is a general reading. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like to really get down into the details of it, it wouldn't be possible. I mean it would, but we would be here all day. I'd be talking to all of you guys. That's just like, okay, anyways, my point is, like, maybe that made some kind of sense, but I feel like there's a person that's watching you, or you're watching, and you feel like it's like out of this world, like an out of this world connection, but it's coming, I heard you coming off like a creep. So please, I hope that's not offensive. Like, we're not laughing at you or anything like that. It's just, it's like, I don't think that you're intending to, and I don't think that you realize it. Like, I think for you, I don't know. I don't think that you realize it, and I don't think that you're intending to be a creep. And it's like, I feel like to you that would have been a shock. Like, you might have been like, what? You know what I mean? Anyways, okay. So, honestly, like, I'm not trying to sound condescending. I hope that this is not how that's coming off, but it's like this mask energy, it's kind of cute. It's so, oh my God, to describe this, I want to say juvenile. It's kind of juvenile. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like a young kid that's like, I want this person to be my friend, but I don't know how to be their friend. Like, should I just, and then they're like kind of awkward because they just go up to them and they're just like, you know, you want to see my karate move? Like, you know how kids are like that when they're like trying to get attention, and they're like, hey, look what I can do. And then they're like, boom. And you're like, you can point? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like this energy. But so it's like that, but it's also like, I don't know if you, there's that, but it's also like, I think that approach might have been rejected, or you know that that's like not an okay approach or something like that. And so it's like, well, let me lead with my intellect. Let me lead with like all of this stuff that I know. You know what I mean? And so you're unintentionally coming off like with this, like, oh, well, I know it all. Like, I know everything. I have all the answers. Like, look at me. You know what I'm saying? And like underneath all of that is like, it's just, you're just rebuilding self-confidence. It's just a little bit of self-doubt, a little bit of insecurity. We all have it. You know what I'm saying? And that's your mask. So I'm getting that you're a person that's probably really misunderstood. Because, okay, so let's move over here. Because we have a lot of energy. Okay, so your overall energy, the truth of who you are. You have the Lover's card in reverse and loud. So the Lover's card is a card of like choices. Two things choosing each other and coming together to create whatever. But this is in reverse. So, and I heard like indecision. I'm just getting like, okay, so anyways, so I heard indecision, but on top of that, it's like, okay, you know that person that's, I don't know if this would make sense to you, but you know have you ever had that person that's like, I heard all bark, no bite? It's like they're really loud and they're like, they might talk a good game and they're like, da, 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 you know what I'm saying? But like when it comes down to action, there's no action. That's kind of like what's happening here. So it's like you are loud in your energy and in your, I heard boisterous, and then I just saw someone with like a hearty laugh. Like you're loud in your self. I don't know how to describe this. It's like it's like if I'm okay. So it's like if I'm loud enough, then I can distract myself from the fact that like I have no idea what the hell I want. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm loud enough about like how great I'm doing, or if I'm loud enough about how successful I am, or if I'm loud enough about like what I love and how much I love it and how great my life is going, whatever it is, it's like if I'm loud enough about that, then that will distract from the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing and no idea what I want. And that's the truth of your energy right now. And so as far as like your mental energy, you're in a space right now where you're able to kind of like zoom out and see the bigger picture. I think that you have a lot of, so you have the card here, 7 of Cups, which is the card of options, but it's in reverse. So there's a lot of indecision. So I think that right now you're like in a state where you're kind of like zooming out so you can see a bigger picture. Like instead of being so in the details, then not being able to see, like imagine if you were in a corn, or what are like a corn field, or a field with those tall, is it corn? Anyways, you know what I mean? And then trying to see, like the corn is taller than your head, but you're trying to see where this bear is coming at you from. Okay, well, Aaliyah, I don't think bears are in corn stalks, are they? Okay, an animal. You're trying to see where this animal, this dog, this ferocious dog, what direction it's coming from. But you're so surrounded by this thick, like, stalks of corn that you can't see, right? So you're in a phase where you're like going above that so you can get an aerial view to see like, okay, I see this dog is coming from this direction and there's this pathway that way that will lead to this let out that's going to take me to this home that's going to keep me safe, whatever. But it's like that's a part of this indecision where it's like I'm trying to zoom out and see the bigger picture, even of yourself and quite possibly about what you want before you make any kind of decision. Because I'm just getting, so now you have the 5 of Cups and then you also have the 6 of Cups, which I'll explain here in a minute. But the 5 of Cups is about like walking away. No, excuse me. No, why did I just say that? That's not at all what it's about, but I don't know. Maybe, did you walk away? Let me just get it. Maybe you walked away from, because you have the 6 of Cups, which is about something from the past coming back. So I think that there might have been a situation that you walked away from and you feel like it's a loss and you cannot, it's like, maybe you might have even really tried, but it's like you cannot take your focus off of it. Even the 2 cups that you still have standing that's full, it's like you like turn your back on it because it's not gratifying. It's not what you want. It's not what you want. And so now you're trying to like zoom out and see the bigger picture so you can understand where you are, what you try to figure out yourself, what you want, what your options are before you make a decision. And I'm just getting that this decision has to do with something from the past, something or someone from the past, a past relationship. It could be like a past work thing, but something from the past. And it's like you might like, I feel like you want to go back to this thing. You want to go back to this thing, but it's like you're okay, so like with this strategy energy, it's like you're trying to figure out what's the best way. You're trying to zoom out and see the bigger picture, and it's still kind of coming through like a little bit predatory, but it's not coming through like threatening on this side. It's more just like, let me zoom out so I know like when I can swoop down and like scoop up this mouse. You know what I mean? And like it's just like it's oh my gosh, I'm not laughing at you, please. I hope you're not taking that as me laughing at you. Tapping into your energy, it's just It's so like, I find it so endearing, but I don't know, maybe other people won't. I'm not sure. You have to talk to them. But like, it's just, to me, it's like, I think other people might find this threatening, like this predatory. If they are a person, or if they are people that don't understand energy and can't understand the undercurrent of someone, if they are a person that looks at a situation or a person on a very surface level, like what you see is what you get, but they don't understand that it goes deeper than that, then they might be threatened by this. You know what I mean? That's where this like, this feels like, I don't know if I can trust this. That's where that kind of energy comes in. But if you're someone like me that understands that we have masks, and that's usually not the full extent of a person, and you can tap into someone's energy like this, or you can just feel it. You can feel it. I don't know why I said tap in, but if you can sense energy, or like even just understand that we are not the surface of us, then, you know, you would see this for what it is. And it's like, okay, you're in a new way of being within yourself. You've unlocked a new level within yourself, and it's like you just got your legs and you're not quite steady yet. You're still figuring out how to like walk and be strong in your walking. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this new phase of life, or of where you are in your evolution, your journey, however you want to label it. And so I can see that that's what this is. So to me, it's non-threatening. To me, I'm like, I can help you. I get this. I dig it. Because there's probably going to be a time when I hit a new phase in life, and I don't know, my legs are going to be wobbly, and maybe I can ask you. That's my general approach when I see this. This is why it's non-threatening, because to me, this is relatable. To me, the truth of who you are is relatable. But it's like, it's so opposite from your mask. And that's the disconnect. That is, remember when I said there's a misalignment? That's the disconnect. And that's why you're misunderstood. Honestly, that is why you are misunderstood. Because there's a disconnect of how you present yourself versus the truth of who you are. And I mean, I get it. I totally dig it. I understand. We have our phases. We have our journeys. We have to go through our own processes. So, I mean, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. That sounds so... I realize... I'm like, what, Aaliyah? What are you talking about? I don't know. What I'm saying is, I understand that the truth of who you are right now, it probably feels a little wobbly and a little like foreign and unfamiliar territory. And I'm just saying, I can relate to that. I've been there many a times, and like, you got it. You got it. Keep going steady. Keep going strong. Yeah. So pile 3, I hope something here resonated for you. I hope that you like this. I hope you feel seen, and I hope that I was not offensive, that you understand maybe my energy from this video, or even from past videos, that I'm not judging you at all. And I find your energy endearing. But if anything in here did resonate, or you did like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you find this video helpful and think that someone else might as well, please feel free to share it. If you are returning from a previous video, I want to say thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you, pile 3. Bye. pile number 4. So right away, I am getting from your energy that you may be a bit hesitant about this reading. Actually, what I heard when I was laying out these cards is I'm just trying to decide how I want to. Okay, so let me just talk about what I was feeling. I like to explain the energy that I was tapping into. So while I was getting your shuffling your cards and getting your cards out, I kept feeling this energy of like fear. It was almost like borderline paranoia. I got so much. So it was so distracting that I realized when I pulled these cards, I was pulling from the wrong deck. Every other deck had this layout, but when I originally pulled these cards, I was pulling from this deck, and it was so distracting. This like fearfulness, this paranoia. It's like this fearfulness of being found out. I felt like I needed to be very secretive, very like kind of secretive. Not like it was like the feeling of like constantly having to look over your shoulder to see like, is anybody watching? Who's watching? Can anybody see? Like that kind of thing. And I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna get into this, but I feel like this is how you are feeling about yourself and this reading. So what I mean by that is like, I think that you are aware of your mask. The mask that you put out is very intentional and very, very intentional on your behalf. And it's to mask your truth. Because something about this truth, like something about your truth is off-putting, and I think you know that. And it's like you don't want people to know this, because it's like the way that you have set up how you navigate your life and your relationships is based on this mask. And if anybody sees that this is a mask and that this is not who you truly are when you come home and you're behind closed doors, it's like this can ruin how you've built up your whole, like I heard reputation, how you built up your whole reputation. And so I think that was your energy that I was tapping into, this fearfulness. I couldn't tell if people were like feeling fearful towards you, or if you were like yourself, if I was tapping into your energy that was feeling that was fearful and like paranoid. Specifically, it was like fear, but it was paranoid. It was like, it was like fear and paranoia. Okay, so let's get into it. Your mask. What you have here for your overall energy, you have fixated on sex and the devil in reverse. And so what I'm getting is like, this is a sex addiction, or that you use sex to, like as an outward way, you use sex to like chain yourself to people, or to chain people to you. You use sex in a way that's like as a drug. Like you use sex as a drug to like medicate yourself, but I'm getting more so to like seduce and like hook your claws into whoever, to like get from them whatever it is that you want. And what I'm getting, so I'm going to go down here in a minute, but I'm going to jump right along to like why this is what fuels your mask. Like what was the reason for you projecting this mask out? You have the Empress. It's like the reason why you want to do this is because this is your mechanism to create the life, to create the life that you want. And I'm also even getting that you may intentionally try to create children through sex with someone as a way to bind yourself to a person so that you can benefit from that person for whatever it is, I heard lifestyle, for whatever it is that they have to offer. And you know this is intentional. You know this. You know that you're doing this. This is very manipulative, and you know that. And that's where this paranoia comes in, because it's like, if anybody sees the truth of who I really am, this is not going to work. I'm not going to be able to maintain this mask anymore, and I'm not going to be able to, I heard mooch and leech off of people. Spirit is not pleased. they are not pleased because, or excuse me, spirit is not pleased. The divine is not pleased because this is intentional and you know what you're doing. And what they're telling me is that they've given you ample opportunities to correct this, to make adjustments, and you have not. Okay, so let me just get, okay, so how are you being perceived? As far as, you have a spirit card here, but this is your mask. It's like you present this image in your communication and the way that you like process things, your outward expression in that way, your mental interactions, like maybe when you're having conversations with other people, or the things that you choose to talk about, or like your mental energy. It's the phoenix. It's all about, like, it's a spirit card. It's like transformation and using the fire to transform you. It's like you're presented, but what I'm getting is that's not, it's fake. It's authentic. It's like I'm putting on this air that, like, yes, I'm this spiritual person and I'm so changed, and I'm a person that, you know, can help. It's like you're leading with this, like, I have the tool. I'm so connected to spirit that I can pour a word into you to help you overcome it's so condescending. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm so great. Like, I'm going to help you overcome your whatever. But at the same time, you're using sex, like this sex addiction is what I keep getting, to like lure in prey. It's very manipulative. It's very intentional, and it's very okay, so okay, spirit, I was like hesitant to say this, but spirit is, you know, they're telling me to say it. So you are pretty lucky to I am a person, I'm a person of compassion and understanding, and like I see the demons in people, and I understand that there's a root to that. And that's not to justify and say it's okay that you're doing this. I understand that there's a root to that issue, and that to resolve this outward expression, you have to go down to the root and then pull that root up and so that the soil that it's in can heal, and then we can plant a new seed, and then newness can grow from that. I understand that. So in my understanding of that, my delivery and my observations when I'm interacting with this type of energy, there's still underlying compassion. And so someone else may give this to you more harshly. And like particularly I'm getting spirit, like they have words, and it's not that I don't feel comfortable saying that. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to be judgmental because I haven't lived. This is me. I personally don't want to be judgmental because I haven't lived your life, and I understand that to get to this point, something allowed you to do this. Whether it's the people that you kept drawing in, that kept reaffirming to you that this is okay, that you can do this, or even further back to whatever triggered this and initiated this whole way of being. I get that. I understand that. Somebody else may not see that, and spirit specifically, they know the heart of who you are, and they know, like, but there's this message of like, they see that, and they are willing to embrace you and help you and transform you and change you, but you're not even, like, you're not being authentic. You're not even giving it. It's like you're so far off course. This is not me judging you. This is the messaging that I'm getting. It's like you have gone so far off course, and the energy that I am getting from spirit is I'm trying to be nice about it. Like, I'm trying to be nice about it, because what I'm getting is that, like, if I were to say what I'm getting from spirit, you would feel super called out. You would cry. You would cry. Like, it would be life shattering. And I'm just, that was not the, I want to just talk about this. I want to bring awareness to you, if you're this energy, or maybe even to someone who's coming to this pile to ask about your energy. I hope that makes sense. So if you're someone that's asking about another person's energy, and I'm saying you, obviously, but like, because I'm speaking as if, but if you're someone that's coming here to ask about another person's energy, like, this is a warning from the universe. This is a warning from the divine. This person is not right. It's almost like, I'm pretty protected. I know that. I am protected. And I feel safe. If there's ever an energy that I'm tapping into that I'm like, this is questionable, I'm going to shut it down or whatever until I feel like, whatever. I'm pretty comfortable with navigating this. This is the only pile that I felt the need to call in the protection, and that I needed to call in the spirit of Archangel Michael. And it's not that I myself was fearful. It wasn't that. It was just that I can already sense, before I even started pulling these out, that the energy of this pile is like, it's more dark than light. It's more dark than light. Typically, I'm pretty confident with my ability to interact with the shadow sides of people and help to balance out their shadows and their light side. And like, I'm pretty confident that through tarot, through my divine gifts, through my own experiences, I can connect with people in that way and kind of like pull them back over into a more balance of light and dark. This is an energy that I would not even, like, the divine got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the divine got it. I would not. This would take complete focus, complete work. I know I'm going off on a little bit of a side tangent, but this is the message. Like, this would take a lot of, it's like, move out of the way. If you think you can say, if you are someone that's coming to this pile asking about another person, and you think that you can handle this, or you got it under control, or you can change this person, or this person's gonna change, or whatever, the divine is saying, move out of the way. And they are saying it so clear, impatiently. Like, they're telling you, you're in the way. Get out. Like, they are coming through so strong. Get out of the way so that they can work on this person, because this is not this is like, this energy is, it's like borderline demonic, you guys. It is borderline demonic. It is so intentionally malicious. I have picked up on this energy before. I don't know. Okay, I mean, I'm just going to go with it. I'm not going to question the divine. If I can give you the message, I'm going to give the message. I don't know what about my energy has attracted this person, but I'm feeling that if you are someone that's asking about this person, that's why. That's why I'm getting this, because your energy is connected to that person. If you are this person, I think that I have attracted you in because your energy is connected to somebody else that has come into this reading or to my readings and asking questions about their self. And so because you guys are connected, I'm pulling in this energy. This is like, to be honest with you, I mean, I'll give like a quick rundown about what I'm seeing here, but this is not even, it's like, yes, this message is meant to be, your mask versus your truth, but this setup, it's like, it's not, what I'm getting for spirit is like, that's not even we're not even going to, if we get to that, they're lucky. But there's this is like, we need to address this. And by this, I mean you, the viewer who's asking about someone else, you need to move out of the way. Whatever saving you think you can do for this person, you cannot. You cannot. It's very clear. It is very clear. I cannot reiterate that enough. You cannot. You got to get out of the way so spirit can move and move this person to where they need to be, which is back into alignment. They are so far into the dark. I feel that very strongly. The other message is that if you are this person, you're caught. Like, not by me. I'm not saying like I caught you or whatever. It's like, this is spirit saying like, whatever you think you have been evading, whatever you think, whatever consequence or karma you think you have been evading, or whatever you think is going unnoticed by the divine, God. I'm hearing specifically God, like you recognize God, not the divine, not the higher power, not source, not the universe. You specifically recognize God, which is, whatever it is, what it is. I don't have a judgment about that, but whatever you think God has not noticed, God sees it. And whatever you think, like, I'm here, like, it has been swept under the rug, it has not. That mound of dirt has built up and it's noticeable under that rug. And oh, God. I don't even, like, Spirit is saying, like, it's noticed. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. Spirit says it is not. You know what's so wild? When I was, yeah, let me relight this, man, because I need to up my, let's just protect this energy in here because it is, oh my gosh. And let me be clear, I'm not judging you. Like I said, I am a person with compassion. I understand that to have gotten to this point, you know what I'm saying? We are human beings at the end of the day. We're spirits in a human flesh. And we're navigating this physical world, and sometimes we get pulled off of our path, and then spirit moves to try to pull us back on, and then we move along and something happens and we get pulled off of our path. You are a person that has gotten pulled off your path and pulled off your path and pulled off your path and pulled off your path, and now where if you got pulled off your path, maybe somebody else can come in and say, oh, you veered a little bit, let's get back here. You're way out here. You're way out here. This I heard no man's land. Like, this is not the land of, spirit needs to come in and move through this. I don't know. So, okay, so let's keep going. How do you interact with your emotional body? You don't. You have the Page of Cups in reverse, which is like the offer of love. It's like the offer of some sort of emotional expression. You've like shut that down. You're like, I'm love. I heard, okay, there's this part in this one song and Fabulous, he's like, love, what the fuck is that? That's your energy. You're like, love, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? I'm going to use my body. I'm going to use my appearance. I'm going to use my image, and I'm going to get what I want so I can maintain. It's like, oh my God, you know what I'm getting? It's like Ursula energy, where Ursula like sees how bright and light the Little Mermaid is. What is Ariel? And she like cons her, manipulates her, and she's like, I'm going to take your voice. And then there's a scene when Ariel's getting ready to get married and break the curse, and she realizes that her plan is about to fail, so she takes it up a notch. She's like, oh no, I'm about to turn myself into this young, deceitful person using this other person's voice, and I'm getting that you do that. Like, you are a person that will, like, I'm getting imitation energy. Like, you'll see someone that you'll see someone and you'll see something in them that you want, and then you'll emulate you'll emulate that. You'll imitate that. That's the word I'm looking for. Like, you'll try to imitate that in the way that you present. That could be like a specific person, or that can be something trendy. So it's like, oh, if it's so trendy. So, okay, you know how like spirituality has become trendy now? Like, you're a person that like, you may not actually be active in the spiritual community, but you'll present that way. Like, oh yes, I'm so spiritual. I do yoga and I meditate and I do this and I do that and blah blah blah. Excuse me. But it's not real. Like, it's not real. I'm just seeing someone that's coming home at the end of the day, closing the door, locking like 10 bolts on the door, and then peeling off their face, which is a mask, and then underneath it is just like gross, hideous, like nastiness. How you interact in the physical world, I'm getting like that what I'm getting is like you kind of play victim. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so helpless. I need, you know, if you're a woman, you might say like, I need this big, strong man. And if you're a man, you might be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to exist in this world without a woman. Like, who's going to cook for me? You know what I mean? Like, it's just this like, or it doesn't matter how you identify, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's your approach. It's like, and that's a part that paired with this like sexuality, like, oh my gosh, oh goodness, my, you know, blouse popped open. How could that have ever happened when I was wearing a size extra small shirt, but in reality I wear a size large. I can't ever imagine how this button would pop. And it's like, I can see through that shit. You know what I mean? But somehow you attract people who's like, oh my God, your button popped. And then it's like your boobs are out. So now they're so, yes. So going back to that example where it's like, I was so distracted that I didn't even realize like I was pulling from the wrong deck. You know what I'm saying? You hide a lot of yourself. You hide a lot of yourself. Like, there's a lot that you don't want people to know about you because it will mess up this image. You want to have the image of this empress that you're just so like creative and attractive, and you know, you're caring and nurturing, and you nurture life. You nurture, whether it's plants, animals, children, like you can attract, you're abundant, you're lush. Like, you want to have this image, but really you're the Queen of Wands in reverse, which is the person that is like, you go above and beyond to get attention because you are insecure in yourself. So like, you will do the thing that like an example of a Queen of Wands in reverse is a person who will wear a size extra small shirt so that the buttons can pop when they know that they're really a size large, because they need that attention. Like, you're bitchy. I mean, excuse my language. I didn't mean to sound so aggressive, but like, that's the Queen of Wands energy, is a bitch. But you know this. The crazy thing is like, you know this about yourself. Or the person you're asking about, if this isn't you, if you're asking about someone, this person knows this about their self. That's why they put so much effort into this mask. The thing is, though, the reason why I have compassion for this person is because I think that this person doesn't feel like they can be the Queen of Wands upright. They don't feel like they can be this nurturing person. There's some sort of programming that this person received, probably from childhood or even like teenage years or something, that has like told them that they have to be this like savage kind of a person because they're just not cut from the cloth of nurturance, for example. I mean, who talks like that? Like, really no one, but maybe, I don't know. But my point is, like, there's some sort of messaging on a subconscious level, or maybe even direct, that's like, girl, you don't have a nurturing bone in your body. Or, boy, you can't take care of anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that type of messaging. This person believes that they cannot be that person, and it's not true. That's why I have this, like, compassion. Don't get me wrong, though. Like, with respect, don't come in my inbox. I'm not going to do a personal reading for you. Spirit has made it very clear. This is beyond me. You got to talk to God. I'm not going to help you with this, with respect. I'm not, you know, that's just my boundary. I don't feel the need to explain any further. But what I will say is that you absolutely can be a nurturing person. You absolutely can connect with your own higher self and be this empress if that's what you want to be. But you have to be willing to let go of this mask and look at the truth of who you are. And I'm just getting that, like, you have run so far away from that, so far away from your path. Like, you've been pulled, that, again, this is a thing for spirit only. You have disconnected from reality. This represents your truth. This is your mask. This is how you present. This is the truth of who you are. You are disconnected from reality. Not only are you disconnected from the reality by how you feel the need to attract, but you're disconnected from the reality by what you think about yourself and what you think you can be. It's like you think that you can only be, I don't know. What's an example? It's like you think that you can only amount to, I honestly can't think. This is what they're giving me. This is what I keep seeing. It's like you think you can only amount to a pebble, but you really want to be like this huge stone. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of your disconnection from reality. You can be this stone if you want to, but this is not the way to go about it. This is not the way to be the stone. Being a bitch is not the way. Being manipulative, using sex, over having to put yourself out there. I'm just getting heavily using your body. You are more than just your body. Whatever program, you might have been a stripper, a dancer at some point. And so I think that created this subconscious belief that you are not valuable, or that the only way to get what you want is by using your body and using your sex. Because when you were a stripper or a dancer or whatever, that's how you, if that's what you did, that's how what you learned. You only know what you know. And if that's what was taught you in your environment, and that's how you came to be in a relationship, and let's say this relationship is a long-term relationship, and that's how you've been navigating the whole time, and you haven't really had much relationship experience outside of that, that's all you know, is to use your body and to use sex in that manipulative way to get what you want and create your life, and to not leave emotions at the door. That's all you know. The good news is that's not all that exists. You're just heavily in your shadow, in your darkness, to the point that it's borderline demonic, homie. You gotta talk to spirit. You can come out of this. You can come out of this. It's gonna take work. I'm not gonna help you though, because this is beyond me. And I wouldn't look towards. You can look for maybe support through people, obviously, but the bulk of this work is going to go through being authentic in your connection with spirit. Even if that means, what I'm hearing is, even if that means you have to yell at spirit about what you're pissed off about. You got to get that energy moving. You got to get it up out of you, because it is just slowly keeps on pulling you further off your path. The more that you are in this mask energy, it's not just the mask, because even the truth of who you are, okay, let me keep going. So as far as how you, and that's what I mean. So, okay, as far as the truth of your mental energy, you have the otter. The otter is all about joy and playfulness and, you know what I mean? Fun, lively type energy. The otter is such a playful animal. That's how you interact. That's the truth of you. That's the truth of your mental interactions. You want to be fun and lighthearted and things like that. You want that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I have compassion, because I see there's a root here that's just keeps, it's rotted and it needs to be pulled up. And you are allowing the root to win. Do not do that, homie. You come on. You can pull that root up. You can do it. You can do it. I have chills. You can do it. Whoever told you that you can't, listen. I'm starting to get kind of defensive for you, because I think that when people find this out about you, the way that they respond only reiterates your belief about yourself. I don't know. Thank you, God. I have the ability to see the bigger picture. I mean, my psychic gifts, whatever. This is not about me. My point is, homie, you can do it. These people don't talk to God. Talk to God. Okay. So moving on. How you relate to your emotions. You have the 6 of Cups. There's something in reverse. There's something from your past that it's stuck. It's a memory that replays, that keeps you in this state of not being able to make progress in your emotions, and in that not being able to express emotion freely or even connect with your own emotions, something like that. And when you can't connect with your emotions, how can you know who you are truly? If you can't really say like, this is what angers me, or this is what I'm afraid of, or this is what I feel guilty about, this is where I carry shame, this is where I'm happy, this is what lights me up, this is what makes me sad, I get depressed during this, when this happens, or this time. How can you know who you are if you don't even explore your emotions to know like what moves you in what way? Do you know what I'm saying? And so like that disconnection from reality, from yourself, from your emotions, from being a human being only further perpetuates this mask. It's like the way you are choosing to live, your choices, it's like it's like making room to like continue to allow darkness in. And you know this. You know this. Okay, so as far as how you interact from the physical world, so you have the Six of Pentacles, which is like the card of equal give and take. I'm just not getting it that way though. I'm getting that like your equal give and take is not, it's how can I, what's the analogy? It's like, it's like exchanging two things that are not equal. So it's like, okay, what's an example? Okay, so an example is like, if you were going to a picnic and, you know, Susie's bringing the bread, Joe is bringing the hot dogs, you know, Marcus is bringing the chips, Kendra is bringing the soda, you know, everybody's contributing food. And then you show up and you're like, I'll bring the nail polish or something, you know what I mean? Or like, I'm going to bring the car cleaner. Why are you bringing the car cleaner? Because you want your car cleaned. And so you're like, I'll bring the products. Can one of you men come in and clean my car? It's like, we're having a picnic. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that you genuinely think that, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I think that you genuinely think that you are like doing an equal give and take. I don't know how can I describe this? It's like, I don't know that you've even given much thought to it. I think that this is what, again, like if you used to be a stripper or a dancer of some sort or something like that, where you exchange it, you know, in like, well, I don't know, I've never been a stripper, but from what I know from friends that have been dancers or whatever, my point is, in that environment, you do really have to have that like type of mentality. You know what I mean? Like, so that you don't get taken advantage of. Where it's like, well, I got to get from this person before they get from me. And I'm only giving if I'm getting, you know, these things that I want or that I need. And it's very like entitled in that way. And it's so like, that's what you have learned. So whether you were a dancer or not, maybe that's like the type of environment you were in your upbringing. Maybe you were around a bunch of hustlers, drug dealers. Maybe your parent was a dancer or a hustler. I don't know. But like that type of energy where it's like, nah, I gotta get mine first. That's your like give and take, your equal give and take. And that's all you know, so you feel like you're not doing anything wrong. But it's like I was saying before, there are other options that exist outside of that, but you have to be willing to look at how you are navigating your life and through the world and accepting that that's what that was. Don't judge it. Okay, it is what it is. We all have things in our past that we're not proud of or that we may have done or whatever it is. Nobody is all good and nobody's all bad. We get swayed off of our path, like I said, but being able to look at that and say, okay, you know, that was a thing. That's what I did. How do I fix this? How do I change this? How do I see differently? How can I get new experiences so I can understand what is really equal give and take? So that I know that when I'm invited to a picnic, instead of bringing the car cleaner and expecting one of these men to clean my car or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I know that, okay, I'm going to bring the apples because everybody's contributing food and it's a picnic and that's what we're there to do. This is not an opportunity for me to try to get out of it what I need to get for my own benefit. It's like a selfish gain type of approach, but you feel like you're contributing something, so it's equal give and take. You're like, well, I'm showing up and I brought the cleaning supplies, so like that's fair. You know what I mean? Like that's how you're approaching it. It's like we're all eating, homie. Nobody came here to work and clean cars. We came to enjoy each other's company and laugh and have a good meal. We can't eat car cleaner. You know what I mean? I'm not making fun of you, pile 4. I'm not making fun of you. I'm actually praying for you. I'm praying for you. So, yeah, that was a message. That was a message. Okay, so I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's something, but I feel like I need to go back and touch on, if you are a person that's coming to this pile asking about someone else, I just want to reiterate and remind you that Spirit is saying you cannot fix this. This is divine work. And like, God bless you, honey, but you're not the divine. Neither am I. Do you understand? Like, I don't yes, I have gifts and I'm honored to be able to use it in this way, but I'm not even, I wouldn't even volunteer. This is beyond me. Like, this is an immediate no. If you are this person, no disrespect, but I can't give you what you need. I cannot give you what you need. That has to come from the divine, and like, you know, that's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to choose that path. But anyways, this is a message. So this is your mask versus the truth of who you are. I want to say, like, if this resonates, but I don't even know if that feels, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know if this is like a thing that I hope resonates. I mean, you know what? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do know, because I hope that this does resonate. I hope that this brings a level of awareness to whoever is coming to this pile that can allow them to see clearly and make it whatever decision that they need to move forward in a healthy way that's for your highest good and for the highest good of the people around you. And if you feel like this message did that, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you feel like this message might be beneficial to somebody else, please feel free to share this. If you have come back from a previous video, I want to say thank you for returning. And if this is your first time, I certainly hope you come back for a future video. But this is where I'm going to end it. So bye for now, pile 4. See you next time.